Hailing back from the days of Medarot 2, and especially well known for his role on Team Iceland in the anime during the World Robattle Championship, it is KIL00 Marine Killer. With a kit of Double Wave, Hyper Wave, Sea Legs, and the leg ability of Continuous P, which passively boosts speed every turn an action is completed. Now, Marine Killer is another model that fans both here on the Western Front and our Eastern friends in Japan as well have been really wanting to see for a good bit of time now, and now is most certainly the best time with the anime at this current time of recording, getting ready to wrap up the World Robattle Championship here shortly with the episodes being aired. But it's still nice to see him maintain even just a shred of the older kit that he had before, which makes him very user-friendly that got to people that played the old game and are just starting out in the world of Medarot S and wanting to kind of learn things slowly at their own pace without having to learn all the new skills all at once. Wave on both the head and the right arm are ailment skills that upon attacking the target will effectively debuff their heat and cool stats by 25%, but also guarantee and slap them with a no defense status while afflicted with Wave. This means that while the enemy is still able to dodge or graze incoming attacks, any hits that land are guaranteed to be immensely painful and are guaranteed crits on top of that. Hyper Wave on the left arm is basically the same thing as Wave, it just hits just a little bit harder, and it also has passive pierce damage, which regular Wave does not, which gives Marine Killer a little bit more of an aggressive edge on the field, but still allows him to maintain his role of guaranteeing that anyone that is on the enemy side is going to be taking an immense amount of pain, no matter how he hits them or how often he hits them. Even if he has to repeatedly use Wave over and over, even after the ailment sticks, it is going to be a relatively painful blow on top of that, whether he uses Wave or Hyper Wave. The only real drawback to Hyper Wave is that upon using it, it does leave him wide open to punishment in his cooldown with a no dodge and no defend penalty until he finishes his cooldown phase. Sea Legs means he'll have relatively decent coverage across most terrains, as it's not quite as diverse as Biped or Multi, but Sea Legs are definitely, I'd say, 3rd or 4th place in terms of terrain compatibility across the board, often focusing and having an emphasis on more dodging or higher resist stats more than they do mobility. And that's most certainly no exception here with Marine Killer. In terms of armor and HP, he is decently fair, not absurdly chunky, but he's also not made of paper either, which is nice. A head HP of about 3,600, arms about 30-50 each, and legs at 4,100. Relatively nice. His arms are just a little bit light there on the armor, which is not quite going to be a pain point, but I would recommend some caution if you are going to make use of Marine Killer on the field. Just make sure he doesn't take anything absurdly massive in terms of damage in order to keep him alive. His leg stats aren't too shabby either, and kind of par for the course with Sea Legs. A mobility of 652, again, par for the course with Sea Legs, means that he will have a relatively decent time moving across most terrains, but when it comes to aquatic terrain or cyber terrain, he most certainly will keep his speed going. An evade of almost 1900 means if he is not attacking you, good luck attacking him, because he is going to be dodging or grazing a lot when it comes to keeping the damage low. The only time you probably will be able to land a good hit is if he has a no dodge status or penalty while in cooldown, or if he hits somebody hard enough that he can't dodge or got inflicted with no dodge. A melee resist of 1094 and a shoot resist of 863, they're not terrible. I mean, his armor is relatively light, so whether he takes attacks from incoming melee or shooting skills, it's gonna be decently painful. Not enough to cripple him quickly, but I do recommend that if you are going to use Marine Killer, make sure you bring in a defender as well to guarantee that he stays alive as often as possible. Now, he does actually have something else to comp his lower speed and kind of forgive him to a point based on how you choose to use him, and that is the leg ability of Continuous P, which will passively boost his speed every turn an action is completed the first 5 turns. So this basically means that the longer the fight drags on beyond 5 turns, he will be getting progressively faster and much more likely to slap you with no defend or with wave or hyper wave, and guarantee that he will for sure be outrunning you with that speed debuff he also inflicts on you as well. All this being said though, as a pure set score, I still do have to rate Marine Killer a pretty solid 5 out of 10, kind of a middle of the road. I don't necessarily want to use the redundancy argument with him between Wave and Hyper Wave, but I kind of have to as well, given that both Wave and Hyper Wave inflict the same weakness on the enemy. So after he hits all 3 of them with Wave, even if the no defense status means every hit is going to be painful, that's kind of all he's there for. And if the enemy is packing Stat Cleanse on the enemy side, well, that kind of brings an end to any kind of viability that Marine Killer can bring to the team. Now, as mixed parts, however, I do have to rate him just a little bit higher at a 5.5 out of 10, given that Wave itself can be made immensely useful, Hyper Wave especially if you want to be more aggressive, but the charm is going to be between using his head or an arm, or his legs as mixed parts more than as a pure set, because that adds more viability and more danger that Marine Killer can bring to the table. So if you say keep his head and switch his arms for 2 other different kinds of ailments that can stack, such as say shock or thunder or freeze, punishment if you want to be diverse with it, then you can start having some real fun with him as a dedicated ailment fighter, more than someone who's just kind of there to help make sure no one can dodge and just be kept slowed down.